Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Housekeepers Podcast. Dare I say, the cleanest hour in podcasting. I am so excited to have my friend Jonathan Lane on the show today. Jonathan, how you been, brother?
I've been doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing really great. I just love these kind of interviews where, you know, we're you and I, we probably don't look it to the outsider, but we're brothers. We kind of grew up in the same, we have a very similar story. We kind of grew up in the same kind of way, in the same industry, really working hard and making a pretty good name for ourselves, which is, by the way, how I even got you on the show.
Thanks.
It's because of your reputation. A lot of people like you. A lot of people think that you're pretty fantastic. And so I'm like, well, I want a fantastic guest on the show.
Well, I appreciate it.
So I love your post. I love you. You post a lot on LinkedIn, and I'm a big fan.
But thank you. I'm really excited about being here.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. So right now you are the director of EVS, right?
Yes, sir.
And where is that? Where do you do that?
I'm at Camden Clark Medical Center in Parkersburg, West Virginia.
Oh, very cool. So it's HHS though, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, HHS.
It's a management only account, but it's HHS.
Yeah, but management only. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, so. Maybe there might be a lot of people who don't know what that means. What it means is, basically it's a contract service, a contract cleaning company, and they have multiple services. You can do like full service all the way down to just a management contract, which is right. So, yeah, that's really fantastic. So you said Virginia.
Yes, sir. West Virginia.
West Virginia. Oh, Virginia. I love West Virginia. Did you grow up there? Where'd you grow up?
No, so I grew up in Mississippi. I was born in Mississippi, and then I moved to Georgia for a while, and then I moved back to Mississippi. So
how long did you live in Mississippi for the first time?
Till about 6, and then we moved to Smyrna, Georgia, which is in Cobb County.
Okay, and how long were you in Georgia?
Till I was 14, so about 8 years.
Wow. Yeah, so you have a pretty good memory then of Georgia.
Yeah.
Because it's similar with me. I grew up in, kind of like all over southern Massachusetts, like below Boston, Canton, Mansfield, Foxborough, that kind of, I know it means nothing to you. My point is that I lived until I was like 11, 12, 13. And you wouldn't, I just have a lot of memories from that time, And so then you went back to Mississippi.
Yeah, I went back to Mississippi.
And then how long did you stay in Mississippi?
Well, I've been in Mississippi up until 2 years ago.
Oh, so that's where did you move back to where you originally came from?
No, so I moved back to a town called Durant, Mississippi. And then
when you were 14.
From Durant to McAdams to Kosciuszko.
Oh, so why were you moving back and forth?
Well, I was living with my mom, and we were just relocating.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so what was growing up like? What's it like to grow up in the South?
It was nice. You got to learn to appreciate a lot of what you didn't have and what you had. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So you were 14. Did you work at all when you were a young kid?
Yeah. So my first job was in EVS. When I was 16, I was a room buffer in the evening times.
You were buffing at 16?
Yeah. So my mom was a housekeeper. So that's how I got started in EVS. My mother was a housekeeper.
Nice. Where did she work?
So it was a hospital in Kosciuszko called Mumford Jones Memorial Hospital.
Wow.
In Kosciuszko, Mississippi, and she worked there. And so I ended up working up there for the summer. And then it went from a summer job to every couple of days during the week after school, and then on weekends.
Wow. That's super impressive that you were running a buffer at 16.
Yeah, I started off early.
Yeah, because, buffers they can be a little intimidating.
Yeah.
Because it can be scary pieces of equipment. I know 40-year-olds who don't like it. Everybody's a little nervous, apprehensive. You're like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold on to that thing.
Yeah, as soon as it come on, like they get real scared just because of the noise of it.
Yeah, you learn it's all strategy and very little strength, right?
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your mom was a housekeeper. Did your mom do that her whole life? Like, what is she doing now?
No. Well, my mom is deceased at the moment. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
She passed in 2012 with breast cancer. So
Stupid breast cancer.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. So I'm sorry to hear that. So that,
Thank you.
but did she work as a housekeeper kind of like your whole life?
No, she was a housekeeper. She also went to school for nursing.
Oh,
But
very cool.
when she had me, she set out and she had to do what she had to do to make sure that I was taken care of. And then she had my brother also. So I have a younger brother.
Oh, very cool. So just the two of you?
Yeah, just the two of us.
Oh, very nice. That's really awesome. I love that she got you into your first job and here you
Yeah.
are, however many years later, still doing it, still in the
Yeah.
game.
Well, I learned to have a passion for it. So that what kept me involved, and I developed a passion for doing what we do. So
yeah. So what happened? What after high school? What did you do?
after high school, I went to college for an accounting and business major. Ended up becoming a father, so I had to do what I had to do.
How old were you? How old were you when you became a father?
23.
Oh, that's old.
Yeah, no, it's kind of young.
That's old. Listen to me. I became a father at the ripe old age of 18. I thought you were in competition with me. No, I made the mistake way earlier than you did. Way earlier. And I don't mean mistake if he's listening. No, 23. Okay, so you get pregnant at 23.
No, I didn't get pregnant. My daughter, mom.
I got you. I was trying to, just.
No, I got you.
Yeah, so you got somebody pregnant at 23, and so then what happened? Then what'd you do?
Then I ended up working for a chicken plant, Tyson Foods in Carthage, Mississippi.
What were you doing there?
So I was a line loader at first. Then I went from a line loader to a pallet jack driver.
I don't know what a line loader is.
To a forklift driver. From
What's a
forklift
line
driver
loader?
Sir?
What's a line loader?
So a line loader, the birds come down the line from a conveyor belt, and we load them up, and then they get to cutting shoulders and dissecting the bird. As it
Are they alive when they come down the line?
No, these are dead.
Oh, okay.
That section is called live hanging. No, I wasn't prepared for that section.
Oh,
Nah.
Trying to get the whole picture here. Okay.
Nah, I like the part that don't move.
Yeah, no question. Me too. Yeah. Okay, so then you just kind of worked your way into being a forklift driver?
Yeah, I became a forklift driver, got my certification. Then I became a cooler monitor, where I monitor the coolers, make sure there's the right temperatures and things of that nature.
Like doing
make sure everything's where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Then I went over into sanitation, which was cleaning, back to cleaning. So I worked in sanitation also.
At Tyson?
Yes, sir.
I have so many questions.
Ask away.
I know. I don't even know where to begin. So you didn't contract it out then? The sanitation was done by an in-house team?
Yeah, it was part of Tyson. It was Tyson on sanitation crew.
Okay. And talk to me about the job routines. What's the sanit? Because I would imagine in food prep, and I know we have this problem in hospitals and nursing homes, and I know that you work in healthcare too, so you can relate to this. In food prep, it's not always easy to get food service workers to clean up after themselves, but I think that it's always the best way to go about it.
Right.
Isn't that kind of what it's like at Tyson, or no?
Yeah. So in the section I worked in a section called debone. It was the coolers and chiller section. After the end of the shift, we'll go in and wash everything down, remove all the grease and grime and filth and all that. And then we'll sanitize it with a cleaning solution and make sure everything's where it's supposed to be, and flush out the pumps on a daily basis, just to ensure the machines are clean and sanitized for the next day for the new birds to be ran through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could imagine there's an awful lot of grease and
a lot of water.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, how you cleaned it. Was it hot water based? Basically, you're just in there with pressure washers a lot?
Yeah, pressure washer. Our hose had pressure tips on it to allow us to get all the thick meat and everything off as we sanitized. And then we had a nice foam hose and everything. It was a hot environment.
Yeah, it sounds like a
lot of fun.
A lot of fun. I like, we had a hose and get all the meat off all the equipment.
Yeah, we just
You
get
don't
to
hear
it
that.
and get it done.
You don't hear that turn of phrase often enough. Oh, we cleaned the chicken guts out of the hose feeder. Oh, that's nice.
We had to
Cleaning.
flush the pump system and all that. So it was a good experience.
Yeah, I bet. The only experience I have, and this is such a non-relatable experience, but I used to work in concrete, and in
Okay.
concrete, we would pump concrete up into these big, 6-inch tubes, and we'd have to clean those out. And it was such a pain, to get all the concrete out of there, and then you have to run water through it out, gallons and gallons and gallons of water. It's not the same thing because it's not blood and guts, but
it's a lot of labor though, a lot of hands on. Yeah,
1,000,000%. And so, how long did you do that for?
I worked at Tyson for I want to say 6 years.
Sounds like a good company to work for.
Yeah, it was real good.
Yeah,
real nice company.
Yeah, I bet they seem to be. What I guess the answer is, I'm going to answer my own question. I'm going to ask you a question. I know the answer, I think, and that is, what is an image of a company? And I think that's everything, right? The image of a company is everything, which is why cleaning is so important. A little plug for the cleaning industry.
Yeah.
How long did you do the cleaning aspect of those 6 years?
I did it for 2 years.
Oh, for a couple of years. Yeah.
For about 2 years.
Yeah.
Because in the time of me working in sanitation, I worked in Jackson, Mississippi, which was like 45 minutes to an hour away.
I thought they ran 3 shifts. Is that not accurate?
Yeah, they have 3 shifts.
Oh, they do. So how would you clean then? Would they shut down certain parts of it?
So we clean at the end of the second shift.
So around
11 o'clock, something like that, 8 to 11 o'clock, we'll go in and clean.
Oh, so only 4 hours?
Yeah, it was only 4 hours.
Oh.
Yeah, it was 4 hours of continuous work, nonstop.
Yeah, because you got to get the lines back up and running by midnight, right?
Got to get them clean, got to get them flushed out, make sure the pumps are running properly. Everything put back together after you break it down.
And they only have to do that after once a day? They don't have to do it after every shift?
So they do it after every major shift.
Got it. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. Cleaning up after I heard a interview with, I can't, his name is escaping me, but he worked for Tyson. Maybe it wasn't Tyson, but he worked for a meat packing plant, but they were doing hogs.
Oh, okay.
And he just had the worst stories. Like it was just.
So also while I was working at Tyson, I learned where the pottage meat, how it started also. So I used to work, I used to be a machine operator also.
What did you do?
So I ran the machine. I mixed the flavors for the pottage meat. So all the bones and everything come down the conveyor belt, and it grinds it up, and they utilize it. So
and what are they feeding with pottage meat?
Wait, there's a little meat. I guess it's called pottage meat. It's in a little can in the store where you eat with the crackers.
And bone is what? No. Housekeepers Podcast. Just need to do a reset. What not to eat out of a can. Okay, so yeah, that's fantastic. So what did you do after that? What did you do?
So while I was still working in sanitation at Tyson, I also worked in Jackson. That's where I got my first start at HHS at the University of Mississippi Medical Center.
So you took a part-time job?
2 jobs at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
With the hour commute in between. So.
Right, Jerry. Spam. That's what Jerry says. Is that what it is? Spam? That's ground up in the can?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Well, here's the worst part about knowing that. I love Spam. So Spam and eggs, sign me up. I'm a big fan. Anyway, it's very popular in Hawaii too. I have no idea why, but yum.
I hadn't ate it in a while though.
Yeah, yummy. So you were doing 2 jobs,
Yeah, 2 jobs.
Yeah, good for you. I have a friend who owns a cleaning company in Louisville, and he was saying that we were talking about staffing, and he goes, I never try to hire people off the couch. I try to hire people who are already working, because those are the
Right.
ones who, to your point, right? Like, just get a second job, get a third job, whatever.
Yeah.
Get a weekend job on top of your second job, whatever it takes,
Whatever it
right?
takes
I mean,
to
what
get
are
it
you going to
done.
do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Yeah. So, all right. So that's how you started working for them as a floor tech.
Yeah, I started working for them as a floor tech in 2010.
And what was the facility? Was it a hospital?
Yeah, it's a hospital, the
Yeah, it has to
University of
be.
Mississippi Medical Center.
It's hard to do floor care at night in a nursing home. It's hard
Never
to do
had that
floor care.
opportunity.
Yeah, it's hard to do floor care. Well, only because, and there's a lot of people that do it. It's just, 80% of this is the difference between a nursing home and a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
A hospital, you probably, I don't want to exaggerate, maybe 40% of your entire layout or your entire footprint in a hospital has actual patients on it at one time.
Right.
So that means 60% of it can be cleaned overnight, common areas, rehab, X-ray, MOB, right? Like all of those places can be cleaned after hours pretty easily.
Yeah.
In a nursing home, the non-patient area is like 15%. So it's, you know what I mean? Like it's
Not
super small, meaning if you're going to do any type of floor care, you're doing it in resident areas. And that's why it's super hard to get floor care done at night. But I know there are people who do it, but I don't know how successful they are.
Typically in floor care, it's never a good time. It's always a bad time to do it. It's never a great time, because the time you think you have the time to do it, somebody always got something going on. So typically you try to work with the customer to make sure it's a good time, so that way you can schedule and get things squared away.
Yeah, I agree. The challenge is, I think, from a business point of view, not saying anything else, just from a business point of view, there's nothing more important than cleaning floors.
Right.
Nothing.
It sets the tone of the environment.
Yeah, floor care is everything.
Yeah.
I would say odor as well. So floor care and odor.
Right.
You could have shiny floors, but if it smells like crap,
right. Cleaning and good smelling is where you want to go. It's
people are not going to compliment your shiny floors if it smells bad.
Or if it does, there'll be a short compliment, then they'll go to the smell and stick with it. So it won't last too long.
No question. And so you've been working for HHS for a long time then?
Yeah, for 11 years.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know, I never worked for them. I did work for a contract cleaning company for a long time myself, but I've done a lot of research on HHS. They seem like a really great company as well.
Yeah, great company, great leaders. Scott Alexander, Bobby Floyd, that's a bunch of great leaders. A lot of great people to learn from.
Yeah, that's really fantastic. And so is that where you first started to get into a leadership position?
No, so I first started getting into a leadership position further on down the road.
What do you mean?
Into my first leadership position with ABM. I worked for ABM also.
Nice.
So I worked for ABM and Crowthall.
Oh my God! Look at you! You've been working for everybody. Holy moly!
Yeah, at the time I worked for them, I was still working for HHS as well. So.
Yeah, wow, that's really fantastic too. I'm a big fan of both of those companies. Crowthall is like a huge healthcare servicer, like hospitals, like 1,000-bed hospitals. They take on some massive. I have a friend who I'm a cleaning strategist, so I'm right in thick of it when it comes to job routines and the start here, end there, annual calendars, that kind of thing.
Operations guy.
Yeah, complete. And I remember a friend of mine was looking at some of the facility maps I was working with. And again, I spent a lot of time in long-term care and senior care, assisted living. And he looked at my map and it was like a 350-bed building, and he scoffed at me. He's like, that's a little tiny little building. Holy, what's taking you so long? I'm like, 350 beds is pretty big for a nursing home. I guess, He just spent the weekend, staffing a 2,000-bed hospital. I'm like, all right, all right. It's different enough and the same enough to where if you know one, you get pretty good at the other,
Right.
not that terrible.
Routine.
Yeah. So ABM. So when did you go to work for ABM?
I worked for ABM in 2014 to 16, I believe.
So what did you do for them? Where
I was a operations manager.
Yeah, but what were you cleaning? What were you in charge of?
So
They do everything.
I was in charge of the PM shift, working with the PM shift. I was managing the PM shift.
What were you cleaning?
We was at the hospital, the university.
Oh, it was a hospital too?
Yeah, it was a hospital. Yeah.
Because ABM, they clean everything. You can never
Yeah,
tell
they
with
clean everything.
ABM. You could be in
so
a
I was
factory.
working at the hospital for them.
You could be at the airport. I mean, they are truly everywhere.
Yeah, they got a lot of airport business.
They got a lot of airports. Where Crowthal is, I think, basically hospitals. I don't think that they do. Do they do stadiums and that kind of stuff? Maybe they do.
I'm not sure. The environment I worked in for them was a hospital also.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they only do hospitals. Very large hospitals. Like their niche is, like you wouldn't find them in a
small
regional hospital, like an acute care, 25 bed or 100 bed.
Right.
I think it has to be pretty big for them. So that's really awesome. So how did you get the position to be the operations guy, like the manager?
So there was a guy named Gary. He was the manager one of the managers over the department. And he asked me, have I ever thought about being in a leadership role? And I told him, yeah, I thought about it, but it hadn't been offered to me. And he's like, well, I'm offering it to you. And so it went from there. He offered it to me. I accept. And it went from there.
How long what year was this? So you started
2014.
Working. So 4 years later.
Yeah.
Right. So how long were you with it? I'm just a little trying to get my timeline right. So you were at both Tyson and HHS at the same time?
Yeah. And
then you went to work for ABM?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then you only worked for ABM at that time?
No, sir.
Oh, what are you?
I was a regional project tech for HHS. So I went from a room buffer to a project tech, and I was still doing projects for HHS. I never left HHS throughout my career. I was always with HHS.
Well, that says an awful lot about HHS.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a great company to work for.
And I have a friend, my buddy Adam. He lives in New Hampshire, and he fantasizes about the idea of having project teams go around and just do floor care, stripping and refinishing and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Is that what you were saying you were doing?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to send him a note, let him know that he can go down to, where was this, Mississippi?
Yeah, Mississippi.
He has been arguing for years. We need a floating project team. I think he runs something like, 12 or 14 nursing homes, the housekeeping department, and with staffing and traffic, and he would just give anything for a project team that just went around and did projects for him.
To take care of everything.
I think he would really do anything for that. So that's pretty funny that you. It does exist, because I'm like, that doesn't exist. He's like, it's got to. I guess it exists. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So I did projects and I managed also at the same time.
That's really fantastic. So did ABM do they have like a management training program at all? Like, how did you learn how to become a manager?
Well, yeah, a lot of hands-on on site, and they have a management program also. But I learned a lot from management just from watching other managers as I was coming up through HHS, and with Crowthal and with ABM also, just paying attention, studying everything, and wanting to do better rather than just stay a floor tech. So I had ambitions to become better than what I was.
That is so great. Do you remember like anything that you thought about management that once you became a manager, you figured out wasn't like the only reason I asked is because when I was an assistant manager, so I got like the assistant manager nod, I thought my manager was an idiot. I thought I'm serious. I thought he would make the decision to go right. I was like, man, if I was in charge, I'd go left. I mean, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. If he's like, hey, we're going to go upstairs first, I'd be like, oh, how stupid is that? I totally would have started downstairs. Like, for whatever reason, I just felt like this opposite thing.
Yeah.
And then I became the manager, and I was like, oh, yeah, going right was the idea. Oh, yeah, starting up. Yeah, that would have made more sense. Did you have any of that?
Well, I think my biggest aim was adjustment from a team member, from an hourly team member to a management standpoint, and knowing the difference. So,
You mean kind of like today they're all your peers and coworkers and
right,
friends?
right.
And
So it was
then
learning to separate the two and understand my role for the position I had accepted. Because that can be a harsh thing at times. When you get to manage your peers, and then it becomes a whole different environment. So that was the biggest adjustment for me on that part, learning that aspect.
Did you have any situation where let me just ask it this way, because I've seen it both ways, and in fact I've done it both ways, where I got called out by other staff that I was given favoritism to my friends, and it turns out I didn't mean to.
Right.
I didn't think I was. I mean, if you'd asked me if I was, I would have been like, no, I wouldn't have, But then they're like, well, look at it. What is this? I was like, oh, I guess I am. And honestly, nobody believes me to this day, but I truly didn't do it on purpose.
Right.
But I was.
Yeah, it's a learning curve in it. You got to learn to pay attention and want to do better and make things better. So.
And then I had the other situation where my so-called air quote friends would be like, I thought we were friends. Huh? You can't let me off this one thing. You're going to write me up, or you're going to talk to me like that. Or, you know what I mean? Like they all of a sudden were.
Yeah. The accountability piece. They didn't want to be held accountable for theirs, but they want everybody else to be held accountable. Yeah. Been down that road.
Yeah. So that happened to you too.
Yeah. Been down that road.
Super hard.
One thing I learned is they were your true friends and they'd accept your position and the things that you're doing and be there with you and support you. So,
yeah, there's I'm sure you've heard the whole old adage that it's business, not personal.
Right.
And I would have said that too, had I not been a manager. Everything was personal. Every attack they made was personal. The way I took it was you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If there's one thing that staff members have, and they do a really good job of showing you, is a mirror.
Yeah.
And they're like, what you look like.
It doesn't take long at all.
It doesn't take long before you go, oh my gosh, you guys are brutal. Like,
yeah.
I always took your side when we were in the break room talking about how the manager was this, how the manager was that, but I don't know if it's them. I think it might be you. What's funny about that is like I said, I thought my manager was an idiot. I've been fired a handful of times. It doesn't sound like you've ever been fired, but I've been fired a handful of times. And every time I had been fired, and I'm not talking about at just that time, I mean for years afterward. It's way too long, by the way. I always just looked for, somebody said, well, what happened? I'm like, oh, that guy was unreasonable, or, oh, that guy, he yelled at me, or that guy embarrassed me, or whatever.
Yeah.
Every time I was saying it was their fault, and the whole time it was always me. It was always me.
Yeah.
Housekeepers Podcast. This is confession time.
You can say it now because it's years after.
It's true. It's true. The
right.
Time and distance and, a little bit of reflection. And you're like, good Lord, did I suck as an employee? I really did. I really did. I was a hard case.
Well, I always tried to make sure I did my part the best way I could, because that way it'll eliminate any issues like that. So I was big on holding myself accountable just as well as I would anybody else. So
yeah, I like that a lot. I think that here's something that nobody ever likes to say out loud, but I'm going to go ahead and say it out loud. You're better than everybody else. And the only reason why I know that is because you're in a position of leadership. And try as we might, we simply don't promote the worst of us. We only promote the best of us.
Sure.
right? We don't go and go, hey, we need a new manager to step into the role. Like, oh, you know who would be really great is this woman. She's not here today because she called out again. But if she could get here on time, she'd be a really great manager. You know what's funny, actually? I actually had somebody say that. It was a district manager who was just a bear, just really a challenge to work for, this district manager. And this guy was promoting him to a regional manager. And I was like, you know, that doesn't make any sense. And I swear he said, well, I know he's not a good district manager, but I think he'd be a pretty good regional manager. How does that make any sense? He did not make a good regional manager. Housekeepers Podcast.
The trend continued.
It did not work out it did not end well, but there have been times when people have said
he can never say he was never given an opportunity. So
1,000,000%. So how long now have you been in a leadership role?
For 7 years.
7, holy heck.
Yeah.
Very nice. And you're working third shift, second shift? What is it?
First shift.
First shift in a hospital?
But I manage all shifts. If I need to, I go in, work what shift is needed to help the team out and make sure things are squared away.
That is so
I don't expect
great.
the team to do nothing that I wouldn't do. So I work right alongside the team to make sure everything's taken care of. So
yeah, that's really smart. How many employees do you have? How many shifts do you guys run?
We run 3 shifts.
3 shifts. Do you guys do transportation, security, cleaning? Do you do all of that?
We just do EVS section.
Okay. All the hospitals I've worked in, we always got sidled with transportation and security.
I mean, we help out where we need to.
Yeah.
Because we're part of the hospital also. But we mainly handle the EVS section.
Yeah, I said sidled.
Throughout the hospital.
Sidle's not a good word, but that's kind of how we felt. We always feel like we got.
It's a team effort.
As it should be. Somebody else, no. Yeah, as it should be. So how many people do you have working for you? How many cleaners do you have?
I have 2 ADs and we have 63 team members.
Very cool.
So
I have a friend who is running a hospital right now, and she's got like 22 openings, FTE openings.
Yeah, people these days just don't want to work. It's hard.
It's crazy to have that many openings. You have 22 open full-time positions. That's a lot. Are you guys feeling it as well down there, the whole staffing crisis?
Yeah, it's a little bit everywhere, but we're good. We're managing it, and the team is working good to make sure things are taken care of. So
that's good. You know what? I grew up in Massachusetts, but only till I was like 11, 12 years old. And then we moved to Vermont, which is an interesting place to grow up, a great place to grow up. But the hospital system that's right by my house, where I kind of grew up around, there's a hospital there. And one of the employee benefits, you're going to love this. One of the employee benefits that all the employees of the hospital get is they get the hospital rate, which is super cheap, on heating fuel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So you get when the going rate is $1.98, you're going to get it for $1.30 or whatever, because you get the hospital rate. Because the hospital buys so much. It's pretty cool though, right?
Benefits with the jobs.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because I remember knocking on their door and trying to see if they wanted to outsource, and because I was working for a contract service company, and they're like, I don't think you could ever, because we always match benefits. We'll just come in and sign what is it called, like a Me Too agreement, whatever you agree to already, we'll just put in place.
Right.
And they're like, you won't be able to match this, and they pull out this whole fuel assistance. Basically, I was like, yeah, I don't know how we'd swing that. That's a pretty. I'm almost. Are you taking applications? Could use the.
Yeah, a lot of people don't look at those little bonuses. They actually add up.
They are. That's an amazing bonus. That's it's right up there with childcare. If somebody offers childcare as a place of business, you better lose your attitude, friend. You just grab that broom. Let's go. Childcare is expensive. If you find an employer that's providing childcare, you do what it takes.
Yeah, a lot of people look at it, if it don't come to their paycheck, then they don't look at it as a bonus. So
yeah, you know what? I I like that too. I really do. I have a friend who owns a couple of nursing homes in New Jersey,
Okay.
and he was having a lot of trouble getting people to come in. This is before COVID. So,
Right.
peace and love with all these call outs and everything. I've been dealing with call outs my entire life. No call, no shows. I didn't even know what a no call, no show was until I started working in healthcare. Even when, because I started working in housekeeping when I was in high school, just like you, I started cleaning the school. So I was working as a janitor over the summer between my 8th and 9th year. And then I started working part-time at night and doing some stuff, and then cleaning condos and then cleaning houses and, hotels. I never heard of a no call, no show. I just never heard of it. The idea that nobody shows up or doesn't call and then shows up the day later, 2 days later, as if nothing happened. That's the part, right? I mean, people quit, of course. They just no call, no show forever. I
used to wonder how they even get by without even coming to work, like without even making. How do your bills are paid and you don't show up to work? Like that was the amazing part to me.
It's
how are you living?
I wonder if. Yeah, because I don't have that answer, but that really is the question. How can you afford?
How can you afford to still maintain what you have and you don't show up? Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody is short-staffed. I have restaurants around me. I live in New York.
Okay.
And there are restaurants with signs that say, we can only seat, no parties bigger than a 6 or an 8 because we don't have any staff and your wait's going to be longer. And please anticipate longer wait times. We don't have any staff. To the tune of, you're just going, wait a minute, how many thousands and thousands and thousands of people are not working? What are they doing?
Exactly. Nobody wants to share that secret.
It's got to be a secret. Is everybody doubling up? And this might be, and I have no idea if this is the case, or are the wages so high now? Are the wages so high that people simply don't need to work more than 1 or 2 days a week and they can get by fine?
I don't think they're that high.
I don't. What is it then? I don't know.
I haven't seen a wage like that.
Up here in New York, the minimum wage is $15 an hour.
Yeah, and it's still hard to get people to come to work.
You can't get
when I first started working, I think I was making $6 or $7 an hour. So
I first started working, I was getting $3 an hour, and I would run to work because I was so scared of getting fired if I was late. Yeah. Now, I mean, you can pay a guy $30 an hour and he'll give you an attitude if you get on him for showing up late.
Right. Or if you ask him to do something extra, that's pertaining to his job, dude.
That's not my job. For $30 an hour, I think your job is whatever the heck I ask you to do.
Yeah, you have a lot to do.
I mean, good Lord, what am I asking you to be unreasonable? I'm not asking anything unreasonable. I'm not asking anything illegal.
Right.
We start at 7. That's can we start there? Can we just get to work on time?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
But times were different then than they are now. So.
Yeah, I wonder. So that's funny you say that because I wrote a book called Congratulations, Now Get Over Yourself. And it's a fun book. And I dedicated it to my first real boss. I had a bunch of part-time jobs and whatever before him. Mm-hmm. But my first full-time real job working construction. And I worked for him for 6 years. In the entire 6 years, he hated me. And he was not shy about showing how much he hated me. He just simply treated me terribly, yelled at me constantly. I could never do anything right. Never. He told me to go to the right. I'd run to the right and I didn't go fast enough, or I went too fast. You know what I mean? I didn't carry enough things, he just always. And I always felt like he was beating me up the whole time, right? I always felt like he was just like this axe to grind. Then he's in a nursing home, so 30 years later or whatever, he's in a nursing home. He broke a hip, fell, and I work, of course, in that nursing home. So I'm running a bunch of nursing homes, including that one that he's in. And I hear that he's there. So I go over and I sit down and hey, how you doing? Just want to check in on you. And he's like, oh, Ralph, I haven't seen you, blah, blah, blah. We're sitting there and we're just sitting out in the hallway in the front lobby of this nursing home. And he starts talking about the nurses. And he's like, look at these lazy people. Look at this. And I was like, and I'm right there with him, because I'm finally on his side, right? I'm like, yeah, these lazy SOBs this, these lazy SOBs like that. And he looks at me and goes, you were the same way. I was like, I was? He goes, yeah. And that's when it dawned on me. It wasn't that he didn't like me. It wasn't that he was a jerk. He was running a construction crew full of 18, 19, and 20-year-old attitudes. Every one of us thought we were bigger, badder, smarter. Right. He had no choice but to treat, but to have a firm stick and not be afraid to swing that sucker around. Because we'd still be on that construction site if it was up to us. 30 years later, we'd still be trying to put that gym together, whatever the heck it was we were building.
Well, at least you found out then that he was still the same way. Nothing changed.
So I guess that's my point too, Jonathan, is that what he showed me right there in that 10-minute conversation is the employees didn't change. The managers did.
Yeah.
The managers are the ones who got tolerable. Managers are the ones who got soft. The managers are the ones who say, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, this place can kiss my whatever. That's management speak. That's not employee speak. Sure, some employees speak that way. I'm not saying they don't. But when the manager says it, it's 10 times worse.
Yeah.
10 times
You're driving the wrong energy towards the staff members.
And I have worked with, thousands of managers. And I got to tell you, it is rampant out there. How quickly they go from being very sweet and kind to very rude and condescending and not my job. And, you want to burn the place down. And like, what happened? Yeah. What? Wait a minute. How do we get here?
It's real, but you got to be willing to be able to deliver what you ask. So,
yeah. So how do you you must be 7 years in, you're liking this whole management.
Oh yeah, gig. I love every bit of it.
What are you going to do next? Are you looking to get even further up the chain?
Yeah. My biggest thing is growth. I'm big on growing. So that's what got me here. Willing to grow and learn and continue to move forward. So
good for you. I remember when I got promoted to a district manager to where I was having to hire managers.
Okay.
And talk about changing your whole game. Because, number one, I had a terrible time doing it. I had a terrible time trying to find, the whole, hey, find your replacement. We're going to promote you. You may as well have fired me because I could not find my replacement to save my life.
You want to find the right person, just don't want to put anybody.
I remember I just heard this story about this special forces school, I think it was Navy SEAL school. And all these Navy SEALs who had gone through the training, and then they went back, they became the trainer. Mm-hmm. And they were like, this course isn't hard enough. Everybody got very soft. These guys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. We need to, increase the standards, and they've got to run faster and do more and pick up heavier stuff, like all that stuff. And the commanding officer said, yeah, so let's just sit down and map it out. Like, what do you guys think the new standards should be? And then they wrote them all out, and they're way harsher than they currently are. And then that commanding officer said, all right, so I have here a copy of all of your scores when you went through the school. So let's look at them. And they weren't even close.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So like they're, you know what I mean? Like you lose the ability to reflect accurately.
Right.
And so when you move up, you're kind of like, everybody behind you is lazy. You were 10 times better at their age. And the truth is not always that way.
Yeah.
Not always that way. And I had the toughest time hiring a new manager. Toughest.
Did you ever find one?
Yeah, I ended up having to start. I didn't find one. I found
potential.
Well, let me see here. I'm going to try to do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I hired like 6 or 7 managers to take my place
Wow.
I finally took a manager that I already had and paid him to move.
That's a lot.
because I could not, like, everybody looks, you never know. You never know. Heck, if somebody even just says, hey, I'm willing to be responsible, I would love to learn what it takes to be in charge, I get super excited. But the truth is, 7 out of 10 of them fail in the first 90 days. And usually by fail, I mean, it's epic. It's a big crash and burn. And like, what happened? I mean, I have had everything. I've had managers that I recently hired. I've had them get arrested. I've had them come to work drunk. I've had them stealing.
Oh, wow.
I had somebody commit suicide. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, I thought I was losing my mind. I was like, huh? What? He did what? She's on video for a what?
Sounds like some interesting times.
I had a poor girl get fired. They made me fire her because she stole 15 cents off a maintenance cart.
That's terrible.
And they had her on film. She went up to the maintenance cart was by the vending machine. She went to the vending machine. And you could see her putting her money in, looking for a part. She didn't have enough. She did missing 15 cents. She looked on the cart. There was 15 cents on the cart. She put it in. They made me fire her. Because stealing is stealing. I don't know what it is. I don't, even to this day, that was 20 years ago. I still don't think stealing is stealing when it's 15 cents on a maintenance cart by the vending machine. And she wanted a beverage. I don't know. Housekeepers Podcast. Yeah, have you had any of that stuff? Have you had like?
No, well, when I was an hourly team member, I had a coworker. They ended up getting $1 that wasn't theirs, and so it ended up in a similar ending. So
even $1, $1 is.
Yeah, but if you needed that bad, all you gotta do is just ask. Still, though, you gotta look at the aspect of they're still $1, 15 cents. They'll take anything. So I get that's the point they be making about that. So
no, I know. I just don't agree. I don't think that. I don't know that I agree that 15 cents leads to a bigger crime down the road.
I guess it just depends on the individual.
I know.
We would like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but
it's getting worse and worse out there. Like people aren't willing to let people make mistakes anymore.
Yeah.
Not me. I am. I thank God people, oversaw my shortcomings. Good Lord. You can imagine. Like I said, I got fired 5 times, not because I was, the best employee and my manager sucked. Nope. The opposite. Managers are pretty good, actually. They probably tolerated me longer than they should have.
They was willing to work with you.
Willing to work with me. Yeah. I don't know what it is either. I love being in charge. I love teams. I love inspiring. I love teaching. I love getting people motivated. I love problem solving.
I think that's the part that made me want to become a manager. Coming from an hourly team member, seeing how other team members were treated and just being able to train and show things the right way. I enjoy showing people how to do things the right way, whether it's floor care, daily cleanings, anything. If somebody learns and they master it, I win. So, because if I win, they win. We win together. So,
I like that a lot too. And I think that one of the greatest things about managers is we have the ability to inspire people. We have the ability to put people in positions to win. For, better or worse, we get to wear the cape.
Yeah.
I love wearing a cape. I don't actually have one. I need one. I should.
What color would you get?
I'd get red, of course. I'm a Superman fan. What's the matter with you? How dare you? What color would you get?
I get a blue one.
Yeah, blue. I can see you in a blue cape.
I get a blue one.
I think it's one of the most noble positions in the world. The idea that somebody at some point, at any time, is willing to say, I'll be responsible for others. is pretty great. Says a lot about everybody who does it. So good for you.
Thank you.
So what is the structure like with HHS? Do they have district managers and then regional managers? Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah. So we have VPs, EVPs, presidents, vice presidents,
So what's the next job for you? Like what would be the next step up?
Vice president.
Oh, nice. So what do you got to do to get it?
Senior director role somewhere in a location. That would be one also.
So what do you got to do?
Be patient, continue to learn, and wait for my turn.
Hate being patient, love the learning part, and don't want to wait my turn.
Patience is what got me here.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I really do. I'm a big fan. I got mixed up with the wrong group or wrong guy at one point in my career. And it was, thank God, it was pretty early on in my career, like a few years in. I was working for a contract cleaning company, and I started hanging out with a guy who was always complaining, always saying no, always everything was stupid, everything sucked, that kind of guy. And I remember getting caught up in it and somebody pulling me aside and going, you're acting like him a lot, and nobody really likes him because all he is negative and knows. So you got to cut that out. And I remember just making the decision that I was going to be the yes guy. I'm not going to say no to anything anymore. I'm not going to be the guy who complains. I'm not going to be the guy who runs down the company. I'm just going to start saying yes. Man, I start saying yes to things, volunteering for whatever. You want to go to India? Sure. We're going to go we're going to go do an orange peel. You ever seen those orange peel floors?
I haven't seen that.
God. It's the worst kind of floor. It's it looks like an orange peel, like it's all bumpy and ridgy. And I don't even know why they have that floor because it's not particularly soft. It's VTC. It's not like a cork floor where you want to have some give to it or anything like that. This is just a floor that somebody decided to be a pain in the butt because when you wax it and you try to strip it, no.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's terrible because it's all grooved. It's all like that little, it literally looks like an orange peel.
So you think you got it up, you still got a bunch of shiny spots.
You vacuum it all up, it dries, and you look at it like, son of a gun. All the corners and edges are still crap. I'm over there like, can we just sand it? Can we sand down the orange peel marking?
Make it a smooth surface.
Make it smooth. Yeah, but so we had a couple of buildings that had flooring like that, and the call would come out like, hey, we need some volunteers to come work Monday night doing this floor, and it'd be quick come apparent, it's the orange peel floor, and people would be like, nope. I was like, I'll do it. It didn't take me long before I got noticed and recognized for being the yes guy and got promoted very quickly after that.
Well, you seen the opportunity, you took advantage of it, and you excel from it. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, saying yes, willing to move. I would do anything. Like, I'll go anywhere to be the vice president. I'll go anywhere to be a director. I'll go anywhere to be CEO. What do I care?
You never know how many times those chances going to come around. Though. A lot of people don't look at that also. So.
Well, let me ask you this: where are you now? Right, you're in Mississippi?
No, I'm in West Virginia.
Oh my gosh, you're in West Virginia! Thank God. Do you have family in Mississippi right now?
Yeah, I have family in Mississippi.
How are they faring? Is everything going okay?
Yeah, they're okay. I've been checking on them.
Oh, good. I was looking at a map this morning. They show the highlight of where the hurricane's coming through.
Right.
And I thought, well, there's a lot of cleanup that needs to get done.
Yeah.
A lot of business right there. And I think if there's one call to action that I think is, like you're saying, like you got to be patient, you got to, find your way or whatever. I'm going to tell you right now, there are thousands, and I'm not using that number lightly. There are thousands of cleaning companies, of commercial cleaning companies who are looking for people who show up, who dress professionally, who speak professionally, who work hard, who take pride in their work, who are trustworthy. I mean, there are thousands of commercial cleaning companies that are looking for guys and girls that fit that billet. Thousands. Yeah. So if there's no opportunity in your current company with peace and love, there's opportunity everywhere. 7th largest industry in the world. There's no shortage of opportunity for us. None.
Right.
That's what's so great about this industry.
Yeah.
Low entry, right? So you don't have to have a lot of skills to get in.
Yep.
And working hard, showing up on time. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, right?
Right.
Working hard, showing up on time makes up that closes a huge gap between you and the top guy
Yeah.
or the top girl.
Separate
Huge gap.
yourself from everybody else.
Huge gap. I mean, it's so easy to get ahead it's probably just as easy to get ahead in any business. Probably is. Maybe not any actual, like it's not easy to get ahead in my company. All right. So maybe not your company, but it may not,
like being consistent, staying available, making sure you do the right things, you can get where you need to get to.
Showing up on time, doing the job you are being paid and asked to do.
Right.
If you do those two things, you show up on time and you do what you're being asked to do, you just cut the field in half.
Yeah.
Instead of you and 50 other people going for the job, it's now you and 25 other people going for the job. You just cut it in half. You didn't get any more education. You didn't get any smart. You didn't read another book. You didn't write anything. You simply showed up and did.
You utilized the necessary tools you had to get to where you need to get to.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard nowadays, but it's that easy actually. But it's kind of hard because people don't want to utilize those tools. So.
No, I mean, but my point is that you found it easy to do. You find it easy to do.
Well, it comes with discipline. You got to be willing to discipline yourself.
I find it easy to do. And by the way, that's what I was saying about that guy that I was working for that hated me, or at least I thought he hated me. But turns out he did me the largest favor in the universe. And that is he taught me how to be a good worker. He taught me the value. He put the fear of God in me. You be late for him and he won't just fire you. He'll beat you up on the way of firing you. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what I felt like. I thought like I wasn't just going to let him down. I was going to have a sore ass, It was not going to be good for me.
Yeah, flashback moment.
Flashback, no question. Super great. Super great. I'm super excited to meet you and now to be able to call you a friend. I'm very excited. I'm excited to hear where you're going to go next. Very impressive. And
thank you.
You weren't even the one who reached out to me. I can't remember who reached out to me. Somebody said, you need to have Jonathan Lane on the show. I was like, anytime somebody endorses another person, I'm like, yes, 1,000,000% I do. And so that's really awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. I met a lot of great people on my journey. So I'm very thankful and very appreciative of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm very happy of them too, because they turned me on to you. They said, you got to have this guy on the show. So I'm very excited that I got to meet you and have you on.
Same here. Been a great pleasure being here.
Yeah. And, sounds like you grew up in a single family home or single mom home and traveling a little bit and spending some time with mom, working in hospitals, doing some cleaning, running a buffer at the age of 16, which is more impressive than and then, working your way up and then just getting from one job and learning how to go through the ranks at Tyson and then starting to do a second job on top of that, just to be able to provide for your family. And your story is so impressive.
Thank you.
It's very impressive. So many people would have already been like, oh, this is all I have. I can only do this,
Yeah.
And it doesn't sound like you've ever accepted that notion for one bit.
No, I always like to challenge myself.
Yeah.
Only defeat is self-defeat. So.
You said it, my friend. You said it. I'm very, very impressed. So it's really great. And I'm very happy that I got to meet you, like I said. But that's it. The time is up for us.
All right. Well,
did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Good.
A lot of good laughs.
Yeah. Yeah, 1,000,000%. I had a great time as well. And I appreciate you and everybody out there listening in, tuning into the Housekeepers Podcast. Thank you for listening. Make sure you are subscribing and sharing and telling everybody about how fantastic Mr. Jonathan Lane is. And of course, if HHS has an opening for, or anybody else has an opening.
Hey, we always looking for great people. Always looking for great people.
Yeah. So Jonathan's hiring and he's looking for the next step up. No, I'm going to start collecting resumes. Actually, how do people, you're currently hiring, right? So how do people get a hold of you there?
Yeah, well, we're always hiring. you can go to hhs1.com, and we're always
The
looking
number
for great
one
managers.
or the word one? HHS.
The number one. hhs1.com.
1.com. Okay.
Yeah. We're always looking for great managers and great team members to join.
Yeah.
It's a great team to be a part of. You can learn a lot, get to see a lot.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I got to say that before we go, when I first started working in healthcare, I started on my own. I like the healthcare facility hired me to be the executive housekeeper.
Okay.
And I really thought it was going to be a walk in the park. Like it was going to be the easiest thing ever. And not only was it not easy, but I sucked at it because I knew so little. Well, I came from the commercial cleaning side, but I didn't know anything about healthcare cleaning, which is just a simple different animal. You know, commercial cleaning, you show up, nobody's there.
Right.
You know? Healthcare cleaning, everybody's still there. Like, what are you still doing here? You know, I got to work with you here. And I got picked up by a contract cleaning company like HHS, and they cleaned healthcare, and they gave me not only the opportunity of a lifetime, but the education of a lifetime. They really showed me everything I needed to know about what it's like to really work smart and clean smart and, you know, all the tools it takes. So, and I know HHS is very much like that other company. So it's really a great place to go. And you've been there, would you say like 14 years at this point? No, 11 years. Yeah, 11 years. 11 years. That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. You look at the longevity of their upper management team, and you can tell an awful lot about a company.
Oh, yeah.
A lot about a company.
Very strong structure.
Yeah, that's super great. All right, that's it for us here at the Housekeepers Podcast. Jonathan, you don't go anywhere. Everybody else,